Hi, welcome again to Hope Alive with Mary. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys again. How are you doing? Hope everybody is keeping their side and you're keeping your faith strong. Um, yes, I you ever heard the phrase, it's not fair. It's not fair. Are you familiar with that phrase? Have you used it before? Have you heard it before? If you got children, then you would have heard it a million times. When your child or children will keep coming to say, "It's mom, it's not fair. Dad, is not fair. It's not fair. This is not fair." And even if you don't have children and you've ever had anything to do with children, you must have heard it a million times as well. And you probably would have said it as well if you got siblings. It's not fair. It's a common phrase that children use. But what's quite interesting is that it doesn't stop at children, and even we adults, either we say directly using the exact phrase, it's not fair, or we act it, or we say it in a different way. Welcome again to Hope Alive with Mary. As I said, if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, like it, and share. And even if you're a returning subscriber, please do me a favor of liking the video and also sharing it so that the message can get to more people. All right, back to what I was saying. It's not fair. And so you get the whole idea now, and it's a very familiar phrase that we know, either acted or behaved. And why am I talking about this today? I was recently going back reading Luke chapter 15 from verse 11, where it talks about the prodigal son. The prodigal son. And if you're familiar with that story, you know it already. If you don't, just a quick summary is Jesus gave this parable to illustrate the point of God's love for us. And then he talked about this rich man that has got two sons, and the younger one came up to the dad and said, "I want my piece of the inheritance." Bearing in mind that inheritance is usually when the father should have passed, but this boy wanted it. Father gave it to him. He went up, squandered the money, and began to eat with pigs. And a long story short, he came to his senses and he decided to come back home, and he was ready to accept the position of a servant rather than being a son, because he figured out that the servants are even living better than he was living. So he was ready to accept a lower position. But guess what? The father, he had planned his speech, he has planned everything he was going to say, but the father didn't even allow him to go through his well thought out and planned speech. While he was in the process of, he was still making his way down, his father ran off to meet him halfway and gave him a big hug. So while he was in the middle of this, his well thought out and planned out speech, the father said, "You know what? Forget about it. I forgive you. I love you." He put a new clothes on him, put a ring on him, threw a big party. Okay, so while I go on to exactly what I was going to talk about, I'll pause here to say that's God's love for you and I. I don't know which state you are in your spiritual work with God right now. Do you feel like that prodigal child who has squandered God's grace upon you, God's mercy, forgiveness, and you went off, you spent it on adulterous living? God's hands is wide open waiting for you. I pray that you come to your senses today, even as you listen to this video, and that you will make your way back to your daddy. He's waiting. He's waiting for your return. And from that story, God made it clear to us that it's not going to be asking questions. There was no telling off. There was no saying, "Oh, where have you been? What have you done?" Nothing. It was just pure love. God is waiting with pure love in his heart for you. Okay, now back to what I was talking about. So he returned. Of course, there was a party, and he had this elder brother who returned back from his busy day, working in his father's farm, working his father's business, doing and everything. Tired of coming back home, and he heard the sound of dancing and music and celebration, and he was like, "What's exactly is going on?" So he asked one of the servants, and the servants told him that that was his younger brother who was back, and the dad was rejoicing and happy that he was back. This elder brother became very sulky. He was sad, he was unhappy, and of course he had this attitude of "it's not fair." So he refused to join in the party. And then his father, which is another great point about God's love and mercy, didn't say, "Oh, come on, Vit, you're stupid, you're this, what do you think? Are you being jealous? Are you whatever?" What did the father do? The father came out to meet him, to find out exactly what was the problem. And then he repeated those words, more or less those words. It's not fair. I've been here slaving away. I've been here serving you faithfully. You never give me even a little goat to celebrate with my friends. And there is this your son who has gone off to spend your wealth and his life on adulterous living, promiscuous living, reckless living, and he's back and you're throwing this kind of party for him. The brother was very upset. He was cross. He was not having it. And, I just want to speak a little bit about that. That's why this title, It's Not Fair. Sometimes we might want to pick a point with the elder brother and feel that, oh, come on, why are you not happy with your brother? Are you jealous or whatever? Think a little bit before you jump into that conclusion. Take a little bit of time to think about yourself. Have you ever been in that situation where you have felt it is unfair? That you are a Christian, you love God, you serve God, you're not as bad as that neighbor down the road. But apparently, their life seems to be better than yours. If you are so righteous that you haven't been in that situation before, I have been there. I've been there quite a number of times. But one that comes to mind so vividly was quite, so many years ago. It's over 10 years ago now. Yes, over 10 years ago. I had this work colleague at work. And then we have this, excuse me, we had this client and who had their matter coming up in court. And this client, asked my colleague for prayers. So in their either briefing or whatever, so they asked the colleague to say, please pray for me while they go to court. And then when we were having an office meeting, staff meeting, she raised that and she said it in such a way that she said, can you imagine this person asked me to pray for her? And that she looked at the person and she went, really? I don't even pray. I don't even pray. And you're asking me to pray. She's like, and everybody laughed about it and they found it funny. I don't even pray. And that got me. I was quiet in the meeting, but it hit me so badly. Why? Because at that time, I was going through something really, really serious. I was going through a lot and I was pleading and begging and crying to God, and every day I'm praying day and night, I'm fasting. I wasn't getting answers. And there is this person who said, I don't pray. I don't pray. I don't even pray. And in my own judgment, I felt that her life was better than my life. This is somebody who does not pray, and I took offense. And I went into their attitude of the big brother. Oh, believe you me, for the next few, I don't know how long it lasted. I was so pained. Each time that voice kept ringing. You can imagine that I remember that phrase. I don't pray. That thing kept ringing in my head. And each time I'm about to pray and I'm like, what's the point? God, somebody that doesn't even pray. Her life seems to be more blessed than my life. Then what is even the point? That I serve you, I pray, I do this, I do that, I try to obey your word, I try to keep within. And why? And I actually began to feel like that big brother. I am bringing this particular one because it really did stand out for me. It took the mercy and the grace of God to take me through that period. Maybe that hurt so much because of what I was going through at the time. But since then, I have had sometimes also where I looked at some people's life and I'm like, this is what I've been praying about. How come just like that? Or even in church, have you not even had the experience? Somebody testify about something, either in church or you hear the testimony somewhere. But I've been praying about this thing. God, look at, and the funniest part. I'm more mature than I can handle it now, but it doesn't stop me from really wondering about the mercy and the grace of God. Where somebody is saying, I didn't even believe it. I just said, let me pray. I didn't even have faith. I didn't even believe it. I was just like, okay, maybe it will happen, it will not happen. And then God does it. And even after God doing it, they still doubted God. They said, I didn't believe it. I still like, oh my God, it's not true. This is not true. And I'm like, God, aren't you so wonderful? I'm in a different space now, but when I was, much younger, a younger Christian, I had been there. And I don't know where you are right now. And it doesn't even, not even the number of years that you've been saved. But this is the tactics the devil will always bring down to us to say it's not fair. But what I want to bring your attention to is the response of the father. The father didn't tell that child off. The father wasn't mad at the first son. The father wasn't like, "Are you serious? Are you so selfish? Are you so whatever?" And he didn't call him names. He didn't. No, what he did was he took his time. First thing he did was to come out to him. He came out when he heard of it. He left the party. He left the party. Oh my goodness. He left the party. He came out to meet this boy. And he said to him what was going on. He took his time to explain. And that explanation is what I have for you today. He said, "Don't you know? Don't you know?" He said, "This your brother was lost, he was gone, and he's come back. We are rejoicing. Don't you know that everything, all that I have is yours?" Wow. Wow. In other words, all that the boy was throwing all the tantrums for, all that he was pissing off about, he didn't know that all the while, he could have thrown as many parties as he wanted. He didn't have to take a little goat, a little animal. He could have killed a calf like the father did. He could have, enjoyed himself, because the father said, "All that I have is yours." God is saying to you, that thing that is causing you to say it's not fair. God, where are you? God, are you not listening? Why are you letting me go through this? Why am I, why am I sick? Or why don't I have this job or that money? Why am I lacking? Why am I homeless? Why am I, whatever it is? Why am I childless? Or am I, no husband, whatever? And, Valentine is coming. It's another time of it's not fair. Can I just pause a little bit again? I don't know how long this video is going already now. I try to keep my video short. Valentine's coming is another time of it's not fair. When some people are going to go let me not say some people, some of us are going to go on social media. I'm going to put out pictures. I'm going to put out our joy and celebration and our celebration of love with our partners and husbands. That some people are going to look and say it's not fair, because it's not happening for you as it's happening for other people. But please, I'm asking you to rejoice with other people. Join in the party. The father invited his older son back into the party. If somebody is testifying about that thing you desire, join in the party. Because that thing that person got, he got it from your dad. And if he got it from your dad, then it belongs to you. Did you get that? If it's a house, if it's a car, if it's a job, if it's a healing, if it's a husband, a wife, whatever it is that you desire, when you see God do it for somebody else, knows that it came from your daddy. And if your daddy could give them, he would give you. He will give you. It belongs to you. Rejoice. Join in the party. Join in the party. If you see other people celebrating with their fiancés, celebrating their engagement, and they're flaunting their ring, it's not time for you to become jealous and grumpy. You are opening the door for the devil, and you are actually blocking the door for your own miracle and blessings. Join in the party. Rejoice with people. That's what the Bible says. Say, rejoice with those who rejoice. That's what the word of God said. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Don't turn up your nose when you begin to see things happen for other people. Don't get upset. Don't go into the mood of it's not fair. Rather, say, God, thank you. I appreciate you for what you've done. I am grateful, and I know that this thing is already mine. Begin to thank God for your own. It's an opportunity as you're celebrating with them. Celebrate with you concerning yours also, because it's an issue of faith. Even though you haven't seen it, celebrate, rejoice, and it will be yours. All right, I hope that was a blessing. And if it did bless you, please do leave me a comment, like the video, and don't forget to share. God bless. I'll be on your way again very soon. Bye-bye.